Hey everyone, welcome back to Ramey Works360. Today I'm going to be upgrading my crafting table that not only gives me more space to work on my models, but also as a custom, one-of-a-kind piece to my hobby room. Let's check it out. For this project, I started out by picking up 6 2x6 boards that were 8 feet long from Home Depot. I'll show you how to cut, flatten, glue, sand, and finish these boards into a beautiful craft table that you can make on your own if you want. Now what I'm doing here is I'm looking at each board to try and figure out what the best part of the board is for the table and then cut off the rest, since I only need 6 feet. I begin by cutting the 8-foot boards down to 6 feet using my DeWalt adjustable chop saw. That way I have consistent lengths for each board. Next, I run the edges on the table saw because I want straight, flat edges. Now, you don't have to use a table saw. You can use a joiner if you have one of those. Really up to you. When it comes to making coffee tables, tables of really any kind, I really like using these bar clamps. They're super sturdy and really easy to use. Once all the boards are all flat and equal, I arrange them to achieve the grain direction I wanted on the finished table. Now, you also want to look at the ends of the board. You want to make sure that the way the grain rotates, it rotates the opposite direction on each board at the very end. This will prevent the boards from bowing once they're all together, especially if the area warms up. Now, once you have your boards arranged, flip them onto their edges and apply a bead of glue along the edge, and then flip them back into place and align carefully. Clamp each board with a bar clamp and watch that you don't over tighten. You want it just enough pressure for the glue to bond without squeezing all of it out. The next day after the glue's cured, I remove the clamps and take it over to the bench to start prepping to sand. Now, depending on how rough your table looks or how much shaping you need to do, sometimes you need to start out with 60 grit sandpaper, especially to address any warping or twists. Once you have your table all flattened out to your liking, you'll want to follow along with 120 grit sandpaper on both sides for a refined surface. Once that's complete, then you'll want to finish it off with 220 grit to leave a slight texture that still has character. And more sanding. Don't forget those edges. With the surface ready, it was finally time to stain and finish the table. I wear rubber gloves and I use a clean rag to apply my favorite dark walnut stain. I do like to add a touch of mocha stain to deepen the color as needed. Now, you'll want to work one side at a time to ensure you get an even coat. Once the top is dry, flip it over and stain the bottom. Once the color is exactly how you like it, you can then apply a clear coat. I opt for the matte polyurethane, which gives a durable finish while keeping a natural look. Remember to sand lightly in between your coats if you're applying multiple layers. Make sure that you give it a good stir and then figure out what you want to use to apply it. I like to use a foam brush, but you can use a paintbrush as well. Just make sure if you use a paintbrush that you go over and sand it down nice and smooth after or in between layers, like I said before. So finally, you get to mount your table legs. Make sure that you measure from the end of the table and the sides of the table to make sure everything is square and even on both legs. The legs I used are 28-inch high triangular shaped metal legs that I purchased off Amazon. I think they're around 80 bucks. I found these blue screws in one of my screw jars and I figured, I like these. They've got a nice contrast on the black. I'll use them. Alright, that's probably enough. I won't bore you by making you watch me screw all of these. Maybe just one more. And there you have it. A beautiful custom crafting table that gives me more space for modeling, painting, storing my paints, and of course, accessories. I hope this project has inspired you to build a crafting table of your own. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more projects on Ramey Works360.